Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Nothing But the Truth. My name, of course, you know my name. My name is Nakali Esco Nakali. And yes, I have with me today on duty. I have the only. Okay, let me just let her do the introductions herself, right? So that she can do justice to that. Ladies and gentlemen.
Boys and girls. Hi everyone, this is Ibinabo. I'm hanging out with Nakali today on Nothing But the Truth podcast.
Oh, yes. And like I said, it's your favorite podcast. And you know, we're all about keeping it real. We're all about showing truth as truth should be. And today we have a fantastic guest in the house. I know, I don't know how I would build this suspense, right? But I'll give you a few clues and hopefully you get it. This man is the melody man. This man is the energy man. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today in the studio, Greatman. Come on. Bro, so good to have you around.
Good to be around. Hello.
Welcome on the show, Nothing But the Truth, right?
Thank you very much.
We are so excited to have you. First of all, let me confess, I'm a huge fan. I think in a day, if I don't play any Greatman song, I'll play like 3.
Wow.
I've made Apostle Femina Love Your Song.
My gosh.
So I think his favorite is Baba do me correct. I know, right? And I'm saying, I mean, it's amazing. We are so delighted to have you around. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
I have loads of things I want to say, ask. I know because it's really going to be interesting, right? Yeah. So, what we're talking about today, like we had started. Chatting even before we went live. The topic for today is an interesting one, and it's one that would bless you, right? To say the least, is us trying to get into the heart of the why.
Okay.
Why? What is Greatman's perspective, right? So, shaping cultures, shaping narrative, a Greatman's perspective. And like I said something earlier, the team used to flow naturally. Oh, that's so French. I said. You looked at me like, what's going on? So I said something. I said it's Greatman's perspective, but it's also a Greatman's perspective. Do you get that? Yeah. So every pun intended. I mean, it's my full chest. So right, we're getting into it straight up. What is the why? What is your why, literally? So let me start by asking. Take us on a journey of Greatman's journey. How did this all start?
Like the music.
Greatman. I think there's more to Greatman than just music. That's showing us.
Well, I guess that's why I'm here.
Yes.
Well, the name is my real name, Greatman Dakit. My real name. Yeah. Given to me by my dad.
Talk about intentional parents.
Yeah. I've been singing since I was 11.
Oh.
But I started doing it professionally like since 2011.
Wow.
2010, 2011.
Wow.
I picked up rap on the way because I was always a singer. Picked up rap on the way in like 2009, 10. And then, I've been doing that.
I think I know some of your early rap songs.
Oh, for real? Which one?
Hey, there was one I could literally rap to it.
For real?
Yeah.
You can remind me the name now. It must have slipped.
Rap songs. Is it Jungle Up Here? Or is it on my first project?
I think so. That was when Greatman began to get popular. Then I was still in Kaduna and I started hearing about Greatman.
Is it Far Away Me? No, it's not Far Away Me.
It's not Far Away Me. See, I will remember it before we finish, but then I will wrap it together. That's how much of a fan I am, right? So for me, the amazing thing is that I have seen the transitions. And when I asked about the journey, right, what spurred, I can tell, or I have observed that there were seasons of transitioning even along the journey. It was not just one thing you have been doing. Of course, it's music, but I've seen diversity come into it. I've seen. So what's the story behind that? Tell me.
I mean, naturally, I've always been a what the psychologists would call neurodivergent person. So like, I don't think the same way everybody thinks naturally, and then I guess that also helped with the expression of my talents. I'm like Joseph, like coat of many colors. I have different expressions, very, very much artistic, but different expressions. I used to draw, sing, rap, act, everything art, do poetry and all. I still can do most of them, but I guess God just wanted me to do music for a while. And that's what he was placing emphasis on. And with music, I was diverse also. Like I could do worship music, I could do praise, I could do churchy music, I could do genres that are not necessarily churchy. And pass the same message across, because simultaneously God was also dealing with me. God was also revealing himself more to me. And so I figured out that, there was a lot I had to do. And so with my music, I figured I needed to also find expression with my not just people above me, but people, and when I say above, I'm talking in age and generation, because they relate more to the slow tempo worship music and all. But the rap music, my mates, my juniors, and other younger generations coming ahead of us, I just figured these people need to have something to, because I remember those times I didn't really like the worship songs everybody was listening to, and I did not grow up on and I did not grow up on church music. I grew up on radio music, so like it was what people played on radio that I listened to. So I listened to everybody. I heard every secular artist you want to name, from hip hop to Afro beats to Aquala, everything.
Would you say that had an impact?
It did have an impact on my expression, because I'm like a sponge. I've always been like that. My mind is very childlike, so I can imitate quickly. I can pick things quickly. I can make even impressions, like mimic people. So like, and it helps with my arts. So it was easy to express with Afro beats or Afro pop or hip hop and any other genre. I really do not find it difficult to express myself in whatever genre I want to express myself in. I just need to learn it and dedicate my time to it. But with regards whether it's difficult, no, for me,
Just going off of that, does that now make your creative process harder? Because sometimes when you're so multi-skilled, it's like so many tenets. Does it make your creative process harder?
Sometimes, but the hardness is not necessarily with the process of it. It's just the hardness is with the time frame of it. Sometimes I need to stay with whatever sound but if I'm to be honest, right, I think what I'm saying is very theoretical. If I'm to practically answer that question, no, it doesn't make it hard, because whenever a sound comes, I know what genre it's going in. I know what direction it's going in. And because songs come with emotions and they come with experiences too.
True.
So whether this is supposed to be melodramatic, if this is supposed to be very hardcore hip hop, or if this is supposed to be Afro beats and stuff like that. So it doesn't make it really hard for me. But I know theoretically it can be hard, because you're trying to express something, you don't know whether you want to tell a story. You don't know whether you want to tell a story in this direction or that direction. And sometimes you're looking for a central, place from which you express, so that many people can get it.
So I know firsthand, one of the bane of a multi-talented person, right, is the temptation to not know where to specialize, right? And because you can do a lot of things, you do a lot of things, and they usually say, even though I recently got to find out that was the complete statement, jack of all trades, master of none. But the idea is that if you're multi-talented, there's a tendency that you will not be good at one thing to the point that it can command global recognition. So how did you know what was it for you that made you single out on music?
So, if we say single out on music is a broad spectrum on its own.
Yes.
It's like shades of gray or tints of white. So, music is a very, very broad whatever on its own. So it was either music or fine arts or, maybe theater arts, maybe if I studied it. But I was always an actor too. Like I used to act like from childhood.
Wow.
And even comedy and all that type of stuff. That's why anyone. But what made me narrow down to music is God. Like there's no other explanation for that. God said he wants to use my voice, and I got that confirmation from a lot of happenings, a lot of occurrences, a lot of experiences. So I knew that, and every time I opened my mouth to sing or to rap, or I saw the impact. It felt like, Jesus talking to the people on their way to Emmaus when they said, did our hearts not burn? So every time I opened my mouth to sing, it felt like something that was beyond me was happening. And so I knew that, God was placing emphasis on my voice. So
safe to say, for anyone who finds out that they're a multi-talented person and is finding it difficult to niche down, you should stay with God to find out the one He wants you to niche down. Is it possible to do many? Do you think it's possible to do many things?
Oh yeah, I was going to say I've never been a fan of that statement, jack of all. Even when I did not know the complete statement, I've never been a fan of that statement, jack of all trades, master of none, because it's simply not true. Like, what are you saying? You get me? Like, David was a master at war. Was a master at shepherding. Was a master priest.
Yes.
He was very prophetic.
Yes.
And he was effective at all. What's your definition? Yeah, great psalmist too. What's your definition of master? If somebody's efficient at what they do, and at any point in time when you ask them to do something, they do it. What are we saying? Da Vinci was a master artist. He was an inventor.
Wow.
Do you get me? He was an inventor. I think he was even a war strategist or something like that. He was ambidextrous. He drew with his left and right hands.
Yes.
And so sometimes I think that things like this we began to segment and sector people because of the industrial age. Because before the industrial age, what you studied was philosophy.
Yeah.
And there was it was just philosophy.
Yes.
So prior to the industrial age, you didn't have to be categorized into anything.
Yeah.
Da Vinci was dabbling into medicine as much as he was dabbling into art.
Literally, most of those guys were so many things at the same time.
Yeah. So, but as knowledge increased, you had to specialize in certain things. Like even engineering, there are many facets to engineering.
True.
So like I don't think that as humans we were created by God to be something, just one thing. Joseph was a wise man. He was a strategist. He was a prophet. He was an administrator. He was a manager. And it was many things. Same with Daniel, same with David, same with Esther,
Amazing.
The list goes on and on.
Amazing. I think this brings a whole new perspective to this, right?
But I think also in the church, there's a thing where we think excellence is synonymous with doing one thing at a time. Like you think, you should stick at it till you master it. But you've given like a very insightful, which is why I want to ask you a question. Do you often feel like for lack of better words, the backlash you would get is that, Greatman is like a non-conformist because, you don't fit into like
a box.
Just one box and you keep him there,
So who created the box?
We did.
I guess. So if humans did, I'm a human being, I can create my own box.
Right?
That's right.
I like that.
Yeah. I heard someone say this. It was a man of God. He said something, and this was coincidentally, it was a while up meeting that day, and we just invited him. He just briefly passed through me now, and he said something. He said, in your bid to go out of the box, don't find yourself in a bigger box called out of the box. Like
that's super profound.
You're trying to go out of the box,
but
then you find yourself in a bigger box, and the name of this box is out of the box.
Out of the box.
That's the height of
bigger,
deception.
fancier box.
That's the height of deception. You have deceived yourself. Your heart has deceived you because now you feel like you're out of the box, but it's a cage. And until you explore that box, you'll never discover that it's a cage. I said that to say this, that the boxes are not bad sometimes, but sometimes it's important to also know your growth process. Know when you have outgrown a phase and a box, an era. And sometimes you may be a pioneer and you don't have to conform to the previous.
True.
You know, the inventors that we celebrate today, some of them are dropouts. Not to say that school education or schooling is not a good whatever, but for the knowledge that is coming, the institutions that we have right now are being outgrown by the people who are inventing new things. And so we're realizing gradually that there is need for a reconstruction of institutions, you know. And so, yes, there is the backlash of me not being conformist, you know, but it is, and I carried that on my shoulder for a while. You know, I still carry it, you know, but
I think that's one of the bane of pioneers, right?
Yeah, you know, and it's fine. To me, it's fine. Like, it does. And again, when God calls you, He prepares you for it. So for me, I'd made up my mind. Listen, and I say this a lot of times to whoever asks me. I say, before the LGBTQ started saying we are coming for your kids, before they created a theme song saying we are coming for your kids, I, a great man, had been saying I'm coming for your children. I'm not coming for you. Wow. If you don't listen to me, that's fine. Wow. God will give me songs for you, the worship songs. Yeah. Thankfully, I have worship songs. Do you get? I'm one of the very few what you guys call Afro gospel artists. Yeah. I'm one of the very few that, you know, identifies with that, but identifies with a lot with other what you call it? Not just genres, but schools of thought, other expressions. So with worship, I am at home. I'm not trying to be a worshiper. I am the guy. Do you get? In the sense where, like, even with choir directing, I've directed choirs. Wow. You know, I've had that experience. I have that under my belt. But, you know, I'm not trying to flaunt that. You get? But with psalmistry, you know, God didn't just gift me with it. He anointed me with it. Wow. So I'm not, when I'm singing a worship song, you can tell I'm not trying to be another minister. Yeah. Did you get my point? I'm just great man, and I'm just expressing what God has put